Hello and welcome to April's writing and reading bullet journal setup. I thought I'd share what I'm listening to while I do this. I'm listening to Blood Siam by Deborah Falaye. I just figure in case you're curious what I listen to while I journal, that's the book I'm listening to now. And This Poison Heart by Kalynn Bayron is the book that this April spread is themed upon. So it's about Briseis, and she has this gift. So with like a single touch, she can like grow plants, and plants are also like very attracted to her. So like trees will bend towards her and stuff like that. And like she's really good with growing plants, and her parents, they own like a floral shop. They're like florists, and it's her mom and her partner, and they essentially, her aunt passes away, and her aunt like leaves her this estate in like rural New York, and since her moms are really struggling with their flower shop, they decide that this is probably a good idea to like take this estate. So they end up moving out to this estate, and Bri ends up learning all this stuff about herself and like her family and things like that, and about her powers being in this estate. And it's got like a poison garden. There's like this plant that looks exactly like a human heart. Like it's a very creepy description, and Bri is kind of learning about where her magic might be coming from and her ancestors and things like that. I thought this was such a like fun, interesting book. It's like a fantasy, but it's got a really great like gothic vibe to it, and like small town secrets, and there's like a girl in town with white hair who Bri is very interested in romantically, and like she's involved in it as well. And this is a series. I thought it was a standalone until I kind of got near the end, and I was like, not everything is finished. So it is a series, and the sequel to it, which I believe is called This Wicked Fate, is it This Wicked Fate? Am I making that up because my book also has fate in the title? No, it is This Wicked Fate. And it is coming out this year, so I'm really excited to read the sequel. And I thought this would make a really great theme for April, because it's like, it's about it's got plants and like that sort of thing. These are more flowers. There's like a poison garden, so there's a lot of deadly botanicals. And I think it leans a little bit more into that, whereas I'm doing these like very pretty flowers. But I thought it still worked for spring and like spring flowers and all of that. And so that's what I'm using for this month's theme. So I'm switching up the layout yet again. So I thought I would do this sideways layout. And so I added all these stickers here, and then I'm actually going to cut it out here so that it's like kind of like a peekaboo effect. Like I'm trying to play with all these different journaling effects. And I like these things where you kind of like cut stuff out. So I thought that would be really cute for April to have this half-page cutaway. And as usual, I have my goals and my monthly wins on that side. And I printed out these like vintage, like gothic style, like anatomy diagrams because of the plant that looks like a heart. I thought that would fit with the gothic vibe of the book, and so I essentially did that. You'll see I'm showing the Tombow colors too fast. I have put them in the description, so you can see them there if you're wanting to know what number Tombows it is that I'm using for this. So I will have that below for you. And yeah, I just like thought this would be really cool to have these vines with like flowers coming out from it, because the cover of the book has a lot of vines and things like that. And now over here, I'm just getting started with my rolling weeklies. So if you watched my March setup, which I'll link in the description along with all my other bullet journal setups, I decided to go with this rolling weekly setup instead of doing like weekly setup where it's like, I have all these pages, because I just realized I really didn't need that much space and it wasn't really working for me organizationally. So over here, I'm just writing all the days of the month of April, and then just like putting it over like a little chart thing and adding the days of the week there, just because the system has thus far worked much better for me. And it's also less work when I'm bullet journaling. Like I don't have to do these like pages and pages and pages of weekly spreads, because that's honestly like too much for me. And so I really like this system because it only takes up like 2 pages. It's only 2 pages of work, and it's like very little like work for me anyway. And then I'm just filling in here just so that I can kind of, it helps me distinguish line by line where I'm drawing. And so that's what I have set up here. And now I'm going to show you what my rolling weekly for March looks like filled out, so you can get a better idea of how I've been using this system. I had to block out some secrets, but it's okay. So this is what it looks like. So I put like a little dot when I'm supposed to start the task and a dot when I'm supposed to finish. And then I have X's through if I didn't end up doing it that day, and then I just move the dot to a different day and fill it out later. And like there, I move the dot backwards because I actually ended up doing it a day earlier than I thought, and a continuing line when it's like supposed to continue in another month. So that's how I use the rolling weekly setup. I will again have links below if you want to check out other people and like how they do rolling weeklies, but this is kind of how it's worked out for me. And I really like this setup just because it feels like more of a single to-do list. I don't feel like I'm filling out, you know, draft this book, draft this book, draft this book every day for the whole month, which just feels so unnecessary. And I really don't have so many to-do items every day that I need that much space. And so this just ends up working out a lot better for me. And so yeah, that's kind of why I've switched to this rolling weekly, and I think I'm going to stick with that. And now I'm on to the next page here. So I've made this kind of like my book theme page. The other one was like goals, and I separated my goals and my monthly wins over there. And that was kind of like my writing page along with my weeklies. And so I've made this one kind of like the separate book page. And I made this spot for new releases and for favorite books of the month. So here I'm just kind of measuring out the favorite books of the month section so that I can put this in here. I have stopped doing book videos because honestly it was just like too much for me to do on top of my regular writing content plus on top of the journaling content, and it's a lot more work than like to do the journaling video, which I was going to do this journaling stuff anyway, but I'm still doing 3 favorite books of the month just because I think it's a good amount. And I decided to use covers for this new releases section. I thought that would be cuter. Unfortunately, I only had 1 new release for April noted down, so I only have 1 sticker there, but like in future months I'll have a lot more to put into that section. So I'm just putting this like Vine washi tape along the bottom. I have it, so I thought it would be a cute addition, so I'm adding that in there. And then I'm gluing down another one of these anatomy bits here. Yeah, so I just kind of decided that it was probably better to separate like my writing stuff from my reading stuff a little bit more. And I liked that separating these pages out gave me this space for this. I also kind of ended up doing it just because that's how the whole arrangement ended up squaring out, and so I just thought it would be better to do it this way. And then I have a whole page for reflection, so I could write a ton in my monthly reflection section. I don't think I need this much space, but it's just the way that things ended up kind of squaring out when I was doing this layout with the half page, and like I kind of like ending on a 2-page spread so that when I start a new spread I can start again on 2 pages. So it just worked out better. And so here I am, I added all these little anatomy things, and I'm just adding all the florals now. And I decided to use some more of the stickers just because I'm trying to use up stickers and I saw there was more space there. And I'm actually like very like excited about how this came together. Like I'm really happy about printing out those like anatomy things. I think they ended up giving it like a really good gothic touch and like fitting really well with like the book's like gothic feels. And so I really like that. I probably should have pinned down the rest of the book, but I didn't, so there you go. Here I'm just deciding what I want to use here, and I ended up settling on the skull. Even though I go back and forth so many times, I ended up settling on the skull. I think it looks really nice here. And I tried to draw flowers in its eyes, but it didn't really come out looking super great, so I just kind of accepted that. And now I'm just trying to figure out what stickers I want to put on. But yeah, I'm excited about this layout because it gives me a little bit more separation. Like, book stuff is on here and like writing stuff is over here. And so I'm hoping that this will work out well. And it's not like the March layout was bad. Like, I don't think it worked out poorly. I think it worked out much better than previous months. I think I like being able to try different things. But here's the final flip through. I'm very happy with how this came out. I think it looks really cute and it was really simple for me to do. And I just thought it really spoke to the like pretty but haunting feel of this poison heart. And so yeah, I'm really excited about having done this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And thank you so much for joining me here and watching. Bye!